Hello students, welcome to Easy Elimu Learning Simplified. I am your teacher, Mr. Stanley Ombogo. So dear students, I believe that you are doing great wherever you're watching from, and I am also glad that you're watching. So allow me take this opportunity to take you through an area under poetry, and that is recognizing tone, mood, and attitude. So we are going to look at number one, a tone in poetry, followed by mood in poetry, and lastly, attitude in poetry. So these areas are these three areas are normally confusing, especially when we meet them in our exams. So I'm going to start, that is by talking about tone, what tone is. So when we talk about tone in poetry, dear students, this refers to what the author feels about the subject. So when we talk about the subject of that is the subject matter, we are referring to what the poem is all about. So a subject matter in a poem is what the poem is all about. And to understand subject matter in a poem, you need to answer the questions such as what the event, situation, or experience does the poem does the poem describe or record. Apart from that, who is the speaker? Is the poet speaking to, is the poet speaking in the role of another person, animal, or a thing? And lastly, to whom is the speaker talking to? So if you try and answer some of those questions, then you'll understand what a subject matter in a poem is. And there is one that I've forgotten, that is what is the time setting? That is how of day, season, or era. And we can also talk about the place and setting. So if you can answer all those questions that I've talked about, they are not on the screen, but if you can answer all, then definitely you will understand what subject matter is in a poem. Now, back to tone in poetry. So we have said that tone refers to what the author feels about the subject matter. So it is used in poetry to show feeling and emotion and set the mood for work. So we are also made to understand that tone can be established through the choice of words, imagery, or some of the details that are included or omitted in the poem. So in order to determine tone, you need to determine the choices of words and the arrangement of the punctuation marks used in the poem. So in poetry, tone used might be number one, we have accommodating. So when the author uses a tone that is accommodating, this simply means the willingness to help or obliging. So we also have another tone that can also be used, and that is humorous. So when a tone is said to be humorous, then it means that it is one that makes someone to laugh. So sometimes an accusatory tone can also be used, and when we have an accusatory tone in a poem, then that means charging of wrongdoing. So we can also talk about optimistic tone, that is having hope. We can also talk about sadistic tone, and that is being cruel to others. So someone who is sadistic is someone who is being cruel to others. That is someone who finds joy in other people's suffering. So most students normally, confuse it, mistake being sadistic with, being sad emotionally. It is not the case. So we can also talk about a cheerful tone. So that is also one that brings joy, etc. So we have got very many words that can be used to describe tone in a poem. So on to the next thing, that is mood. So when we talk about mood in a poem, dear students, we are referring to the feeling created by the poet for the reader. So mood is also referred to as the atmosphere, as it creates an emotional situation that surrounds the readers. It is different from tone. Remember, tone is the feeling displayed by the author toward the subject of the a poem. So mood is developed in a literary piece through various methods. It can be developed through setting, it can be developed through a theme or some issues that we have in the poem. It can also be developed through tone and diction. So some vocabularies that are commonly used to describe tone, that is mood, sorry, include we have agreeable, and that means pleasing. So there is also nostalgic. So that means looking at the happy past. We also have a sorrowful, and that means a sad because something bad has happened. And we also have melancholic, and that also means sad. Then we have diffident, and when we talk about diffident, this means lacking self-confidence. And there is also indifferent. So indifferent means not having interest in something, etc., etc. So we also have got very many vocabularies that we can use to describe mood in a poem. So on to the next thing, that is attitude. So when we talk about attitude in poetry, dear students, attitude is a way of feeling or acting towards a person, thing, or a situation. So if maybe, let me give this as an example. If you have a visitor, maybe somebody, uh, uh, somebody you know, yes, but you do not like him very much. How will you, how will you act towards that person when they randomly, come to your house? So that is what attitude is all about. And talking about feeling, how can you feel towards a particular thing or a situation? Let's talk about maybe, domestic violence as an issue. How can you, what can be your attitude uh, or feeling towards such issues? So in poetry, it is the feelings of the persona or poet uh, towards a person, the subject matter, circumstances, or issues addressed in a poem. So some of these issues could be, passion for sporting, a dislike for a certain actor, maybe in a play. Uh, then we can talk about a negativity towards a life in general, and so on. So, dear students, those are just but some of the examples of the vocabs that we can use to describe tone, uh, mood, and even attitude. So this mark the end of our session, and thank you for being with me till the end. And remember to always keep it easy, Limu. Until next time, bye.